Hello and welcome back. I'm Barbara O'Neill. Today we're delving into the topic of nutrition and the importance of food, separating myths from facts. Nutrition is not just about calories, it's about nourishing our bodies with the right nutrients to support overall health. There are many myths surrounding nutrition that can lead to confusion. For instance, the idea that all fats are bad or that skipping meals helps with weight loss. However, the truth is that fats are essential for brain function and overall health, and skipping meals can actually slow down metabolism. In this lecture, we'll uncover the science behind nutrition, debunk common myths, and highlight the facts that can empower you to make informed choices about what you eat.
Healthy, long life, quality of life. And there are people on the planet that do experience that. I don't know if you've heard of the book Blue Zone. You have Time magazine, I think it was 15 years ago, did also an article on Blue Zone. They looked at, we're going to particularly look at 3 groups of people that live long lives, commonly into their hundreds, quality of life, and the journalist actually interviewed and followed a lot of them. And one was the Okinawans, which are Japanese. I think it's a Japanese island, very hard for McDonald's to get to islands. And there's a picture of a Okinawan woman, 85, collecting seaweed in the shallow part around the island. Also the Sardinians, which is an Italian group of people, and he was climbing hills, almost mountains, for this 90-year-old man to check his goats, and he could hardly keep up with him. Now, the third group of people were the Seventh-day Adventists, and they're a group of people that commonly have much better health. So the 3 common denominators with these 3 groups of people were they're always active, and tomorrow we're going to be looking at exercise. Number 2, they eat food in its natural state. A lot of them are vegetarians. The ones that eat meat, it's not a large part of their diet. And the third common denominator was they're very social. You know, we're social people, aren't we? And when we're social people, our mind is not so much concentrated on us, but on other people. Interesting that they were the 3 common denominators.
Food plays a crucial role in health and longevity, as shown by the diets of long-lived groups like the Okinawans, Sardinians, and Seventh-day Adventists. These populations prioritize eating food in its natural state, often focusing on plant-based diets. They consume lots of vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains, which provide essential nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that support overall health. Meat, when eaten, is typically lean and in small amounts, reducing the intake of unhealthy fats and processed foods that can lead to chronic diseases. This diet helps maintain a healthy weight, reduces inflammation, and lowers the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers.
The first alkaline food I'm putting up here is the humble lemon, and you might say, no, the lemon's acid. It is. And it's acid where it should be. There's only one part in the body that should be acid. You know where that is? Stomach. It must be acid. If someone says, I've got a very acid stomach, I say, praise God. Because if you don't have an acid stomach, you can't break your proteins down. How do you know it's acid? Well, it's sore. Well, you shouldn't feel it. I can't feel it. It means you haven't got a thick mucosa lining on the stomach. We're going to look at water tomorrow, and that's made up of water. Maybe it's because you're dehydrated. Remember, you've got to investigate. I gave a presentation last night to a group, and we had questions at the end. And one question was, what can I do for high blood pressure? And I said, well, I can't answer that in 30 seconds, but you can go to my YouTube lecture. What can we do for this? I said, well, all depends on why it's... What can I do for my sore finger? All depends on why the finger's sore. So you've got to investigate. So I actually referred them to lectures I have online where they can investigate. Everyone wants a quick fix. Sorry, there aren't any. The quickest fix I know would have to be your hot and cold. your hot and cold treatments. You can get relief very quickly with your hot and cold water treatments. No, the lemon is acid where it should be. That's why you'll find that most of our salad dressings have lemon in them. But when it is broken down in the gut and the minerals are dispersed and absorbed into the blood and thus to the tissues, it has an alkaline effect because the lemon is high in the alkaline minerals, which is sodium and potassium, calcium, magnesium and iron. These are the alkaline minerals, and the lemon is high in the alkaline minerals. Don't you love the lemon? Every home should have a lemon tree. And if you're in a unit, you can have a lemon tree in a pot on your veranda. Dark green leafy vegetables are also alkaline forming. Dark green leafy vegetables we should be eating every day. That's your kale, that's your parsley, that's your, what you call them, collard greens. Do you know, I've never seen collard greens in Australia. You can tell I'm in Alabama. They're a popular food here, but we do have spinach and silver beet, kale. We should be eating something from the dark green family of vegetables every single day. And if you don't, you really should have a dose of green barley or super greens. Also vegetables. Vegetables have an alkaline effect. But there is a question mark with vegetables. I'm putting a question mark here because for some people these have an alkaline effect and sometimes an acid effect. It's the tomato and bell pepper, or in Australia we call that capsicum. Also eggplant, and some countries call this aubergine. And last is the potato. Now this is not the sweet potato. The sweet potato is actually not a potato. The sweet potato is a yam. I'm referring to the English potato or the Irish potato. This is the nightshade group of vegetables, and for some people they have an acid effect, and for some people they have an alkaline effect. Let me tell you what I have found with me. My mother died at 51, a cripple in a wheelchair with rheumatoid arthritis. I have strong inherited genes to that way. And my body says to me, a little tomato now and then. My body says to me, don't even touch the bell pepper. What happens if I touch it? Oh, it repeats on me all afternoon and my energy just goes. So I say, I'm hearing your body and I don't eat it. The eggplant, I have a little eggplant now and then, maybe twice a month. Potato, my husband's an Irishman. Potatoes must be in every main meal, so I have it probably most days. That's what my body tells me. I don't know what your body will tell you. Now, I could have 10 professors in front of me saying, this is ridiculous, Barbara. The bell pepper is a very good vegetable. It is high in antioxidants and vitamin C's. You should be eating it. Who am I going to listen to? I've got to live in this body. That's why the fine-tuning is yours. No man on the planet can tell you the fine-tuning. Only your body can.
Understanding how different foods affect your body is key to maintaining health. Experimenting with your diet, noticing how you feel after eating certain foods, and keeping track of any reactions can help you determine what works best for you. Incorporating a variety of alkaline-forming foods like dark green leafy vegetables and alkaline fruits such as lemons can contribute to overall alkalinity in the body. However, balance is essential. While some vegetables like tomatoes and bell peppers may have an acidic effect for some individuals, they still offer valuable nutrients and antioxidants. It's about finding a balance that supports your body's unique needs.
When you cook the tomato with an oil, and I think you'll agree with me, olive oil and tomatoes go very nice. They almost hand in hand together. And you look at Lebanese food, Italian food, there's a lot of tomato and olive oil cooking. When it's cooked with an oil, it releases a plant chemical called lycopene. Lycopene is from the fat-soluble family, and that's another reason why we should be eating a little oil with our meals, because it helps release the fat-soluble vitamins. Lycopene is a potent antioxidant, and it has the ability to reduce the inflammation of the prostate gland, so that's good news, isn't it? So every man over the age of 40 should be having a cooked tomato and olive oil dish maybe 3 or 4 times a week. That's not hard. Lovely base for your chickpeas, your tomatoes, it is tomatoes. For your, in fact, isn't that Mexican, your kidney beans to have with your tacos, or your tacos, I think you call them.
Adding olive oil to dishes not only enhances flavour, but also aids in the absorption of important nutrients like lycopene. This antioxidant not only combats inflammation, but may also contribute to heart health. Incorporating tomatoes and olive oil into regular meals offers a simple yet effective way to support overall well-being. Whether in Mediterranean salads, pasta sauces, or grilled vegetables, this combination remains a staple across diverse cuisines for its nutritional benefits and rich taste. Experimenting with different herbs and spices can further elevate these dishes, providing a delightful culinary experience while promoting health.
The 2 nuts are your almond and Brazil. And all your seeds have an alkaline effect. So what has an acid effect? Before we go there, there's one other, is fruit. Now I've got a question mark with fruit too. Why have I got a question mark? If someone has a yeast presence in their body and they're eating a lot of fruit, the sugar in the fruit will feed the yeast. And as the yeast feeds on the sugars in the fruit, it gives off acetic acid. It gives off lactic acid. It gives off uric acid. So it basically is feathering its nest. So when a person has a yeast presence and they're eating a lot of fruit, can you see that they are feeding the problem? And they're creating the environment of 5.5 where yeast loves to live. And alcohol is also given off. Alcohol breaks down in the body to acetaldehyde. And acetaldehyde is a neurotoxin. We don't want a neurotoxin. A neurotoxin is a brain killer. There are 5 places you can be exposed to acetaldehyde. Yes, if someone consumes alcohol. Yes, if someone has a yeast problem and they're having a lot of fruit, it will break down to this. Cigarette smoke, car fumes give off acetaldehyde. And the last one is vinegar.
Vinegar, surprisingly, can also contribute to acetaldehyde exposure. Understanding these interactions is crucial for managing your health effectively. When it comes to what you eat, finding a balance between alkaline and acidic foods is really important. We've talked about how almonds and Brazil nuts are great for keeping your body alkaline, along with seeds that also help in that regard. On the other hand, fruits can be tricky if you have issues with yeast, because the sugar in them can feed the yeast and lead to more acid in your body.
Let's have a look at acid-forming foods now. These acid-forming foods are high in the acid-forming minerals, which is phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine. So what foods are high in phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine? Meat. This explains why Dr. Colin Campbell found he could turn cancer cells on and off like a switch by the amount of meat and dairy products he was giving the rats. Refined sugar, it's very acid forming. The hybridized wheat, the hybridization of the wheat created a lot more of the acid forming minerals. Aged cheese, What's the blue in the blue vein cheese? The blue in the blue vein cheese is mould. So the only cheeses that don't sit under that category, the cheeses that have probably a pH of 7 would be your fresh. So that's your cottage, your ricotta. I'm not saying that they are okay, because usually they come from cows who have not been fed right or have chemicals in them. But on the pH scale, they're not as acid. Caffeine, all your caffeine foods and drinks have an acid effect. And of course, caffeine usually comes hand in hand with the sugar, which certainly ups it. And remember our 2.6 Coca-Cola, that's a combination of the caffeine and the sugar. Did you know that Coca-Cola is called Coca-Cola? Because I think it was in the early part of the 20th century, they put cocaine in it. And then they went over to caffeine, which is just as dangerous. Alcohol is not a food, but it creates an acid environment in the body. Tobacco is not a food, but it also creates an acid environment in the body. All your other grains, other than the grains that sit on the alkaline side, all your other legumes, other than the lima, lentil and soy, and all your other nuts, other than the almond and Brazil, have an acid effect. To maintain the 6.5 environment, we need to be consuming 20% acid-forming foods and 80%, 70 to 80% alkaline-forming foods. And I'm sure you're not surprised to hear me say that the 20% should come from this section here. Yes, oatmeal is here. Yes, rice is here. They're not bad grains. We need a little acid. Yes, your chickpeas are here, and your garbanzos, your chickpeas, your black-eyed beans, your kidney beans. They're not bad. Of course they're not bad. We need a little acid. It's when the whole meal is acid that tips the scales. How many Americans would be eating 90% acid, 10% alkaline? Is that true? No wonder cancer and heart disease are neck to neck for the #1 killers in the world today. Far more people die from alcohol-related diseases. Far more people die from tobacco-related diseases. And yet they're not banning tobacco or alcohol, are they? That's why the deaths to COVID fade into insignificance against all of these.
Thank you for joining me today as we explored the importance of nutrition and debunked some common myths about food. I hope you found the information helpful and feel more empowered to make informed choices about your diet. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more health and wellness tips. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. Take care, and I'll see you next time.